halls of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about 50 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tay Von Austin.
The Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride!
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night!
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue. It is a great night to be a Mountaineer, wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into the Country Roads webcast, where you can find West Virginia sports content from Mountaineer fans for Mountaineer fans. Here today for our April 17th live stream as we get set to get you prepared for the WVU football spring game, spring festival, whatever you want to title it, coming up tomorrow. We've got the rosters released. We got plenty to talk about on that side of things. So we're going to have some WVU football talk here at the beginning of the stream as we detail those rosters, detail what you can expect to see in tomorrow's spring game. Plus, then on the back half of the show, we've got some more WVU basketball transfer portal talk to get to as we have another transfer target to put on commitment watch here as we have another visitor set for West Virginia, plus another potential high school addition that could be in the mix for West Virginia, a 7-foot-plus big man that West Virginia may be in the mix for. They're coming from the high school ranks that could continue that Bella Vista to West Virginia pipeline we've come to know and love here on the program. So that's what's on the docket for this one. A little WVU football talk at the beginning as we lead up to the culmination of spring tomorrow with the spring football festival, the spring football game, whatever you want to call it there. And then, of course, some more WVU basketball portal talk here to round out the show. So that's what's on the docket for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you're watching live or on a playback. Either way, help out just by hitting that thumbs up button. Give the video a like while you're in here watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way you get notified of these live streams as we continue to cover WVU football and WVU basketball on these. Plus, of course, the Monday through Friday, every weekday shows of WVU News Daily where we cover all WVU sports. But appreciate you guys that are in here live. If you are in here live, throw your thoughts, questions, comments there in the live chat. I'll get to some of those towards the end of the program as well. So with that being said, and no further ado, let's talk a little bit about the WVU football spring showcase here, and we'll get into that first of all. So let's pull up some info here. I know we've talked about a couple of different things here. On the WVU News Daily program, we kind of went over this, but may as well run through it here again as well. I want to talk a little bit about what you can expect with the timeline, what you can expect with, of course, the gear sale yet again, and then we'll get into talking about the rosters, which were released earlier today for the spring game. So the Gold Blue Spring Festival timeline will go as follows. Parking lots open at 8 a.m., and then, of course, the gates open at 11 a.m., Sandwiched in between there, you've got the Almost Heaven Village and the gear sale, which we'll get into momentarily. The game itself, the spring scrimmage between the gold and blue teams, will begin at 12 p.m. Fans with field access can enter the field from 1:30 to 2:30, and then the Jake Owen concert will begin at 2:30 on one of the end zones there. As we know, it'll be taking place on one side of the field. The concert will conclude at 3:30, and the baseball versus Houston beginning at 4 p.m. Actually got an update on that as well. Unfortunately, one of the things that I liked about last year's spring game was the fact that you could lead right into the spring game to the baseball game. However, that will not be the case this year, as the baseball game time has been changed here. Just announced recently, it will be actually taking place at 11 a.m. So if you want to go to the baseball game, it's before the spring game, actually now at 11 a.m. on April 18th. And apologies for StreamYard ahead of time, because I know probably every time I'm sharing the screen here, my face is probably freezing. My camera's probably freezing here. That's been the case now for a couple of days. It's a StreamYard issue. Nothing I can do about it. That's why when you've been watching WVU News Daily, when you watch the WVU football recruiting update I put out earlier today, I've just been having kind of the things that I usually share on the screen, in addition to my face, take up the whole screen, because every time you share a screen now on StreamYard, it unfortunately freezes my face. So you have to deal with that in the meantime. In between time, unfortunately, the face cam not working on StreamYard whenever I share a screen, which I will do frequently throughout this live stream. So continuing on here, we have some more to talk about here with the Gold Blue Spring Game, including a t-shirt giveaway, which if you guys didn't see WVU News Daily today, where I mentioned this earlier, the first 2,000 fans that enter at the North Gate tomorrow will get a free t-shirt. And it's a really nice one here, a gold t-shirt that says "Earn Success, Earn It Together." West Virginia Mountaineers got the football helmet on it. Pretty sweet there. So that's coming up tomorrow as well for the Gold Blue Spring Game. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, prior to the game kicking off, once the gates open and such, we will have the Gold Blue gear sale as well, which is pretty sweet. Saturday, April 18th from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. It's in the Diversified Energy Terrace at the North Gate. Over 2,500 items for sale. Helmets, jerseys, footwear, more. Multiple WVU sports programs here involved. So pretty awesome stuff here. If you want to get you some gear, definitely get up there early tomorrow. I'm intending to, which is why I'm hoping to not have this stream run too late, because do got to get up early to head up to Morgantown in the morning, guys, for sure. So really excited about that one. But then we do have a couple of other topics here on the football side of things. Let's pull up some stuff here. So the Almost Heaven Village as well. So both of these two things are kind of open to the public ahead of the game actually starting. We went over the gear sale there, which is around the same time frame. And of course, if you want to, you can attend and go to the Almost Heaven Village from 9:30 to 11:30 also, where they'll have inflatables, balloons, characters, airbrush tattoos, face paintings, photo booth opportunities, and of course all the food trucks that they always have there as well at the Almost Heaven Village from 9:30 to 11:30 on the north lawn there at WVU. And then we also have some pictures that were shared earlier today of kind of this scene being set leading into the spring game, as we see on the one end of the end zone where we will have the Jake Owen concert post-game. That will be set up in that end zone there. There's the t-shirts that they are giving away to the first 2,000 to enter there through the North Gate. And then, of course, a little close-up there of the concert stage as well. So that's kind of the extra activities, I guess you can add there. But let's talk a little bit about the game itself. Who's going to suit up where, all of those good things. This is what we want to talk about here with the spring game preview. As this was released earlier today, you have the gold team and you have the blue team. So both of these teams were drafted earlier in the spring, as I've covered here throughout previous live streams. Rich Rod talked about they were going to draft different teams to scrimmage multiple times throughout the spring leading up to this spring game, and this is how it shook out. So the gold team, on offense, let's go through the quarterbacks first. The gold team is going to have Michael Hawkins Jr., the transfer from Oklahoma, who we're all really excited to see. Then you'll have a couple of freshmen there with him, with Jaron Hughley and Max Anderson there. So those will be the quarterbacks of the gold team. The running backs on the gold team, you'll have true freshman Amari Latimer, who I personally think right now may be running back 2 on the offense. You'll have number 22, Chris Talley, who's been underrated, a great speedster. And then number 26, Andre Devine, the legacy running back there. So there's your quarterbacks and running backs on the gold team. And then your receivers here on the gold team, you're going to have Teron Francis, the LSU transfer. Darius Raynaud 2.0 is what I've been terming him here on the Country Roads webcast throughout our live streams here throughout the spring. And then you got Prince Strawn. So I think you got two of your potential top 4 receivers there on the gold team, which means the other 2 are on the blue team, with Teron Francis and Prince Strawn both here on the gold team. You also have Armani Weaver, who is a good slot receiver, also potential to be a return man for WVU this upcoming season. And then you get into the freshmen with Robert Oliver and Greg Wilfred, and then another returner in Cyrus Straw, and then another freshman in Charlie Hannafin. So those are the skill position players on the gold team. And then we get into the hog mollies up front, the offensive line on the gold team. You can have Raymond Kovaleski, Bubba Grayson, Josh Isosa, Philip Bowser, Landon Livingston, Devin Vass, who I don't think will be playing in the game as far as I know, been dealing with a bit of an injury, Andreas Hunter, freshman phenom Kevin Brown, JUCO transfer Deshaun Woods, and then the other transfer from Wyoming, Wes King. So if I'm looking at this, I think with Wes King, with Kevin Brown, with Landon Livingston, with Bubba Grayson, and with Devin Vass, although Devin Vass likely will not play, you're looking at 5 of your potential top 10 offensive linemen there on the gold team. So I think these teams are split up pretty evenly as we round out the gold team offense by looking at the tight ends here, where you'll have Josh Sapp, Carter Zuliani, and Ryan Ward. And apologies again for the face cam probably being frozen right now as I share this screen. Like I said, StreamYard issue. Hopefully they get that cleaned up in the near future. But on the defensive side here for the gold team, let's run through that as well. The defensive line, you're going to have Wilnerson Telemock, Corey McIntyre Jr., true freshman Yinder Mack, Gabe Ryan, JUCO transfer Jalen Thomas, returner Nate Gabriel, and then Coastal Carolina transfer Zeke Durham Campbell on the defensive line for the gold team. Moving up to the linebackers, we're going to have Jeremiah Johnson, who's going to be a defensive end, bandit player for this upcoming season. I think the Bandits, of course, have been retermed as the edge rushers this year. Jeremiah Johnson, one of those. Then you have Ben Cutter and Tyler Stolsky, more traditional linebackers that join freshman Cam Dyer, a.k.a. Bam Bam, as well as Cam Torber, who returns as a redshirt freshman, and then another edge rusher in Toby Hostrup, who we're all excited about coming over from Oregon. Going into the secondary here for the gold team, where you'll have at the cornerback spots Damon Allen, Choms Jine, Keyshawn Robinson, and Rayshawn Reynolds Jr., the 4 corners you'll have on the gold team. And then the safeties, which feature also nickels, as you see Jameer Latimer, who is a nickel this upcoming season, Miles Cowtree, who's listed as a nickel, Shane Cornally, who's listed as a nickel, and then your more traditional safeties with guys like Matt Sieg, the true freshman phenom, Kamari Wilson, the Memphis transfer, also former Florida Gator, and then Jacob Bradford, the LSU transfer. So there is your roster on the gold side of things, and just judging by what we've seen thus far, I think these teams are split up pretty evenly. Let's go to the blue team here, where you'll see on the offensive side for the blue team, the quarterbacks there, you'll have Scotty Fox Jr., Max Brown, and true freshman John Johnson there as the quarterbacks on the blue team. The running backs, you've got Cam Cook, you've got Martavis Boswell, the speedy JUCO transfer, and Darius Morant, one of the latest additions that we covered in a recent WVU football update here, the Temple transfer there in the running back room. Wide receivers for the blue squad, I've talked about the top 4 being Prince Strawn, Teron Francis, DJ Epps, and Jaden Bray, and I think you see those 4 receivers being split up between these 2 squads. As here on the blue squad, you have DJ Epps and Jaden Bray present. Then you have the 2 JUCO receivers, Kedrick Triplett and Keon Hutchins, also on the blue squad. And then a freshman in Malachi Thompson here. And then the UConn transfer, John Niter, here on the blue squad as well. And then on the offensive line, we talked about, 5 solid offensive linemen that are in the competition there on the gold squad. I think on the blue squad, you have that as well, with Nick Cray, Malik Agbo, Cam Griffin, Karsten Cassidy. Right there, some guys that are very much in that mix as well to be, in that rotation of offensive linemen. You add into that true freshman Aiden Woods, true freshman LaMarcus Dillard, a returner in Trevor Bigelow, a true freshman in Brett Morris, and then the pancake man himself, true freshman Camden Goforth will also be on the blue team. The tight ends for the blue team, you'll have Caden Luke, who's more of a fullback type, but of course working with the tight ends as well. Then you have true freshman Cade Bush, true freshman Sam Hamilton, and then the Mississippi State transfer Cam Ball at 6'7" there on the tight end side for the blue squad. So there's your offense for the blue team. Defensively, the blue team on the D line has KJ Henson, Carter Kessler, Taylor Brown, Darius Wiley, Cam Mallory, Will LeBlanc, and Brandon Caesar. Then moving up to the linebackers here on the blue team, where you have guys like Jason Hall, Isaiah Patterson, Malachi Hood, and then Troy Fisher. And then, of course, a couple of edge rushers here, formerly Bandits on the blue team as well, with Harper Holloman and David Afogo. Then we go into the secondary here on the blue team, where at the cornerback spot you have the returner Nick Taylor, you have the transfer in Jair Rollison, you have Kamarius Bomar returning, you have Mekhi Boone, a true freshman there on the roster, and Jaden Bell, another returner there at the cornerback spot on the blue team. And then back end of that defense here on the blue team with the safety spots, you have JUCO addition Damari Williams. You have a couple of nickels here with Andrew Powdrell and Malik Hawkins. So, multiple nickels on both teams that I think are going to be in the mix. Blue team here with Powdrell and Hawkins, as I just mentioned there. You also have Alex Adebayo, and then a couple other safeties in Ricky Giles and Cameron Reddick. So that's the way the teams will be split up here between the blue team and the gold team here for tomorrow's spring festival, spring game, whatever you want to title it there. And like I said, apologies there for the face cam here lacking on StreamYard side of things, but those are the rosters, which I was really excited to detail here on the football side of things. And I think that's pretty much all we have on the football side of things. Let's switch gears, talk a little WVU basketball, as we have a signing that's now official from a transfer in. We talked about Finley Bizjack and his signing becoming official yesterday. Now we have another one in Javen Buchanan, who we can cover. And then we have someone we want to put on commitment watch on our transfer target list, someone to remove from the transfer target list, and then a high school prospect we want to hit on as well that could be a big pickup for West Virginia and continue that Bella Vista to WVU pipeline before we wrap up here. Then I'll get to some of your all's comments here before we get to the tail end of the show. So let's go here. Let's talk about the official signing, because we know Javen Buchanan is one of 3 transfers in for West Virginia thus far. And with his signing now becoming official here, as was announced today via press release, 2 of the 3 transfers for West Virginia now officially signed with the Mountaineers. You see Javen Buchanan, the most recent here with the senior forward, joining the Mountaineers, as Ross Hodge announced his signing earlier today. A 6'7", 230-pound senior from Lafayette, Indiana, comes to Morgantown via Boise State, where he played the last couple of seasons. And we get a quote here from Ross Hodge saying, Javen is one of those players that everyone loves playing with. He has tremendous intangibles and great versatility. Javen makes everyone around him better and will represent this state in a first-class manner. And, of course, this past season, he started 31 games, averaging nearly 13 points and 5 rebounds, shooting over 42% from the field and over 83% from the free throw line. And that's one of the things that really excites me about his addition, is his ability to get to the free throw line and his ability to convert at the free throw line. Actually, his career free throw percentage of nearly 83% was top 3 in Boise State history. This past season, he was an All-Mountain West honorable mention and the 6th man of the year prior as well. Scored his career-high 29 points against San Diego State. In the Mountain West tournament, he had a double-double with 28 points and 13 rebounds against San Jose State, so an exciting double-double there. And, of course, we're really excited about this pickup for West Virginia with Javen Buchanan now becoming an official addition as he has signed on with the Mountaineers, joining Finley Bizjack, who we talked about there previously. So there's a couple of transfers in now official for West Virginia, as I'll share that list with you guys really quickly. As both the addition of Finley Bizjack and Javen Buchanan now official with their signings. Hopefully Muhammad Silla comes in soon as well, as he's can officially sign with the Mountaineers here in the near future. But West Virginia not done yet. Not done just yet. We've got some updates to make to the transfer target list. First, we have somebody that we want to remove from that transfer target list. As we just recently talked about Colin Smith, the UC Santa Barbara transfer, but he is committed to Northwestern. So let's go ahead. Let's pull up our transfer target list here on the CRW. and we can go ahead and remove Colin Smith's name from the list. And we have a couple of other additions that we talked about on yesterday's live stream as we continue to cover the WVU football portal updates here on live streams. And one of these here at the bottom, I think we could put on Commitment Watch. As you guys saw me put out on social media earlier, once somebody locks in a visit to WVU, that's when we throw them on to Commitment Watch here on the CRW. And I think Josh Holloway from Texas A&M certainly fits that bill. As you see here, shared on social media earlier today, Texas A&M transfer Josh Holloway is planning a visit to West Virginia coming up next week on Wednesday. He's also considering Memphis and USC. Lee Reddy and Sam Kaiser sharing this on social media. So, as I've always said, once they make it to Morgantown for their visit, we can put them on Commitment Watch. So, has he quite made it yet? No. So maybe not quite on Commitment Watch, but very well on the path to being on Commitment Watch as long as he makes it into Morgantown for that visit. Coming up on Wednesday, we got to keep an extra eye now on Texas A&M transfer Josh Holloway there on our transfer target list as maybe one of the next potential additions for West Virginia. Certainly one that we have on Commitment Watch currently. And then we also have an update on a potential high school recruit for West Virginia, and this one is the one that would continue the Bella Vista to West Virginia pipeline, as I believe he is scheduled to make a visit to West Virginia here in the near future as well. Thought I had the tweet about that pulled up, but maybe I didn't. Let me see if I can pull it back up here momentarily really quickly, because this is another one that would be a big man addition. Someone down low, and I know that's one thing we've all been clamoring for is front court additions, and it seems like he is planning a visit to WVU here in the near future as well, which is really exciting because we know we have Miles Sadler, we have Alio June, we have Mo Silla, all those guys coming via that Bella Vista, connection to WVU. And the most recent one to keep an eye on is Amadou Sini, who just played with him this past season. He's in the class of 2026, 7'1", 230 pounds, so definitely has the height to potentially be a contributor at WVU. You do not ranked on any recruiting services on On3. I believe the same goes for 247, so this one may be a little bit more of a hidden gem, but 7-foot guys don't grow on trees, and I think you look at WVU in the past 20, 30 years, we've had, 3 or 4 7-foot guys at most during that time span. So to add another one would be no small feat. And I think the fact that he has that Bella Vista connection is also really nice. So we're going to keep an eye on Amadou Sini and see if West Virginia maybe makes a late add to the 2026 recruiting class as well, in addition to the transfers that we'll continue to cover here on the CRW. So really excited about the potential of his addition here as a high school recruit. And then, of course, we're keeping an eye on Josh Holloway as well, as he's scheduled to visit WVU next week. So let's pull back up that target list really quickly here before I get to some of your all's comments before we wrap up. Like I said, going to turn in for the night before too long because I got to wake up early, head up to Morgantown tomorrow, catch that Gold Blue Spring Festival, Gold Blue Spring game, whatever you want to term it. But Josh Holloway from Texas A&M, the one on this list that I am most keeping an eye on now, as he is potentially scheduled to visit to WVU, so that's one to watch for sure here as we take a look at the target list here on this live stream as well, as we'll continue to cover this in live streams moving forward. Like I said, we've been live pretty much daily talking WVU basketball portal news. That will probably continue throughout this process. And, of course, spring football tomorrow with the spring game. My plan is hopefully on my way back from that spring game tomorrow to go live, talk a little bit about what I've seen and all of that. But wanted to come on here, discuss the rosters for the Gold Blue spring game and talk a little bit about it, give you a little bit of a spring game primer, what to expect, whether it's the list of events, the times everything starts, or the rosters themselves. Wanted to cover both of those things. And then, of course, some really good updates on the basketball side as well, as we have a transfer to put on potential commitment watch. We have another high school recruit to keep an eye on as West Virginia crafts that roster for the upcoming season. Plenty names to keep an eye on there, and we'll continue to keep you update on those here on the Country Roads webcast in future live streams. But appreciate you guys that tuned into this one on short notice, especially with it being a little bit later in the night. But whether you're watching live or in a playback feedback. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button before you head out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for future updates here from us on the Country Roads webcast, on the WVU Portal News, WVU Football Talk, all of those fun things. And of course, you didn't get a chance to chat here live, you can throw your thoughts there in the comment section. I'll respond to those in due time in text form. Always enjoy chatting about the Mountaineers with you guys. But having said that, let's get to some of the comments that did come in here live from you guys. I see it's Coop in here. I see Trey Edwards in here. Appreciate you guys for sure. Let's see here. It's Coop asking if the players are signing stuff after the game. I'm not 100% sure this year. I know that's one thing I responded to Trey, who's in here actually earlier, was, the past couple of years, the field access was open to everyone. I don't know exactly how they're doing that this year with the concert going on. I think it's a little bit different. I think if you do have field access, you'll probably be able to, get some autographs and pictures like you have in years previous. But I'm not 100% sure on that one either. It's Coop. See, it's Coop also saying face cam frozen. Yep, sorry about that, man. StreamYard having some issues. I don't know what else to say or do about that one. It's just kind of the way things are right now with StreamYard, unfortunately. Hopefully they get that worked out here in the near future. Trey Edwards says, we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Hey, man, I'll be up there. If you see me, come holler at me, Trey. I'll definitely be up there. Trey says him and his dad are going to be leaving around 6. I'm going to hopefully leave by 5 is my plan, 5:30. I want to get up there by 9:30 for that gear sale, so we'll see what happens for sure. As Coop said, I want to see Hughley on a few plays. I definitely think you'll get to see that. I definitely think that's one thing you'll get to see. Just judging by last year, some of those freshmen got involved. That was kind of the first Scotty Fox sighting, and when he started to stand out a little bit, like, hey, this guy could be something. And maybe you'll see something similar with Hughley. I know, from some of the clips they put out here throughout the spring, certainly seems explosive and seems like he can make some things happen. So I'm hoping for the same. I want to get a glimpse of the future as well. That's one of the good things about the spring game, right? Is you get to see some of the guys that may be a little bit more down the depth chart by the time fall rolls around. Some guys that may be, more developmental, and you won't get to see really in action in true game scenarios until a little bit later in their careers, but you get a little bit of a glimpse of them there in the spring, which is really exciting for sure. It's Coop says Ian Elmer and Josh Holloway would probably be the next two. Hey, I'd love for Ian Elmer to be one as well. That Miami of Ohio recruit there would be a great one for West Virginia to add. We know the season Miami of Ohio had this year, so if we can pick up anyone from there, I think that'd be a really good pickup for sure. It's Coop said we need Terrence Hill on a visit. Brother, I've had my fingers crossed for that one for a long time. You guys know that I follow the channel for a long time. I'm a UNC basketball fan, so after seeing what he did in the tournament, that's been number one on my wish list until Finley Bizjack popped up on there. It was Terrence Hill number 1, and then once Finley Bizjack popped up, it was Terrence Hill 1A and Bizjack 1B. We've already landed Bizjack. If we could add Terrence Hill into the mix, talk about a home run. A lot of suitors for Terrence Hill, though, so we'll see if West Virginia can get him in on a visit. That'd be a big step. If so, glad to see us still remaining in the mix for sure. Trey Edwards says, really excited to see this wide receiver room. As am I, man. We'll see what happens, who all gets to go. I've got a feeling, a lot of the kind of guys that are going to be first teamers, we won't see get too many reps. We've heard as much about Scotty Fox and the like. I think Jaden Brady maybe is one they'll try and protect. We need him healthy this upcoming season, but the wide receiver room is deeper. We're going to see a lot of those guys get, some action at least. So I'm excited about that one also. I'm always a skill position guy, so excited to see what happens with all those skill positions for sure. So we'll see what happens with that, man. We'll see what happens with that. But really appreciate you guys that tuned into this one here, coming a little bit later tonight. I know a lot of people will probably gearing up and getting ready for tomorrow to head up to Morgantown, as I will be as soon as I wrap up this stream, but wanted to come on a little bit, talk about the rosters, talk about some things to expect tomorrow, and of course had to hit you with guys with another WVU basketball transfer portal update while we have some new news there with Josh Holloway potentially visiting, and then potential high school edition there coming with that Bella Vista to WVU connection yet again. So appreciate you guys tuning into this one. Catch you guys on the next one, and I'll be back to chat with you guys again in short order. Like I said, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, be able to chat with you guys a little bit after the spring game tomorrow, share some of my thoughts, get some of your alls as well, and that'll be a lot of fun. But regardless, we've got plenty of basketball portal news to cover here in the in the upcoming days, rather, as I'll continue to keep you guys up to date on that. We'll keep an eye on Josh Holloway, keep an eye on some of those other transfer targets, but plenty more news to cover, and I'll be back to do it in future live streams here on the channel. Appreciate you guys as always. I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.